51. You may pour hot water.
בורם,
לא.
בישול,
בישול אנחנו נותנים. 51. פרגרף 51, chapter 1.
כן. Hot water may be poured into a large quantity of cold water, even out of clear rishon standing on the fire, provided that the cold water is not heated thereby to a temperature of 45 degrees centigrade. צריך לברך על הגם,
מה זה?
chewing gum. מברכים?
כן. Because you swallow in the spit. The spit is became solid, not solid, sweet. Became sweet.
Conversely, a large quantity of cold water may be poured into hot water, so long as the hot water is not in a clear rishon, which is standing on the fire, and there is so much cold water that cannot be heated to a temperature of 45 degrees.
Because you put very much water. כאשר יש פה את המים הקרים, you must pour it in one time. Because if not, because the first what you pour in, it became hot. Not slowly. כדי שהמים החמים שבכלי, because if you pour it slowly, the first part will be hot.
When pouring the cold water into the hot, one should be careful to do so in one swift action, since if it is poured in slowly, there may be a sufficient time for the hot water to warm up the first few drops of the cold water to a forbidden degree before the rest of the cold water is added. אבל הרב עובדיה יוסף אומר
זה לא שם He agrees the same halacha, not how different between Ashkenaz and Sfarad. Why you say different? Not
how is it?
No. There's every halacha is the same. He hears this halacha is the same. Not how different between Ashkenaz and Sfarad.
There are certain foods which become cooked even in the Kli Sheni. As we are not sure which they are, there is a general rule. שמעתי שמישהו שאמר לי המלח היום זה לא מבושל.
לא פשוט.
לא פשוט? כן, הוא אמר זה לא פשוט, אבל he said that it's not.
Where you say it?
Because he said that now what they do is now they just put a thin layer of salts and they make it.
Wasn't best. The best was
What do they do now?
He says that the salt is cooked because the new modern way is to cook the salt.
But they just make the water evaporate in small quantities. I don't know. זה לא פשוט.
He said, I know that it was cooked the salt. I don't know why they need it, because maybe much quick you can do this salt. So you must have pool, water pool, a very big pool, water pool, because very slowly became dry the water. If you put in the nature, it came very slowly. But if you put in hot, it became in 1 minute. Because this, I'm not sure who is right. I know, I know the pest. The pest was naturally. Naturally was water pool.
Mm-hmm.
I remember, now I don't never saw the water pools. But the athlete, the place was, when we was go with the train, you can see this, you must see in the past, full water pool for salt. Now, not exist more.
So if they put them on a crib, like a crib, a thin layer of salt, then the water evaporates like in a few minutes, and then they push it aside, put new one.
Maybe not with salt. He says that it's cooked. You can see the internet.
I didn't understand.
Google, I will give you later.
We are not sure which they are. This is a general.
Ask me to say in the goggles the solids cooked or not.
מתי?
ב-5:30. Before they came. Oh, when we finished the learn.
As we are not sure which they are, there is general rule that we treat the prohibition against cooking as applying to anything which is not cooked, even when put into a kli sheni, if indeed the contents of the kli sheni have a temperature of 45 degrees.
Yes.
One, therefore, ought not to put a raw egg into a plate containing hot food, nor put tea leaves that are in a bag or a strainer, or mint leaves or ordinary cocoa, none of which have been pre-cooked, into a cup of hot milk or water which is a kli sheni. Nor put a slice of lemon into tea which is in a kli sheni.
Even a cliche. יוצאים מן הכלל.
There are certain exceptions to this rule. The most important of them is in practice being water and oil, which may be put into a kli sheni even if they have not been boiled. למה?
מלח. He say.
No, water and oil.
Yes, but the next paragraph he talks
Since
about
both
the salt.
table salt and cooking salt are boiled,
Table salt. He says it's cooked.
during the refining process, the rules set out in paragraph 49.
But זה תחליפי חלב, but
There are various ways of manufacturing salt substitutes.
substitutes. The substitutes, you must know. But he says the regular salt is be cooked.
So far as unrefined salt is concerned, the prohibition. We have seen that the prohibition against cooking also applies to fully cooked liquids which have grown completely cold. Such liquids may, however, be put into warm food in a kli sheni. Common examples are boiled milk and tea essence, which was either boiled up before Shabbat or made before Shabbat by pouring boiling water from a kli rishon over tea leaves. Processed sweetened lemon juice, soup essence, and sterilized milk, which are cooked during the course of manufacture, fall within the same category. There are grounds for the view that pasteurized milk too may be poured into kli sheni. The above applies also to products which were boiled in manufacture but are no longer in a liquid state, such as sugar, saccharin, soup powder or cubes, milk powder, instant cocoa, coffee and tea. למה tea? מה הוא כתב?
נמסים. Tea what became powder tea. Not regular
יש דבר
leaves.
כזה?
Yes, you don't know? In Finland you not have it?
No, כן.
Melted, because it became melted.
Then put it inside the...
Okay. They melted. After they put in hot water, it became melted.
It is preferable to avoid pouring the contents of a kli rishon into a kli sheni containing any of the products or substances mentioned. For example, one should not pour hot water from a kli rishon into a cup of tea prepared from cold essence or from instant tea powder.
Here in Cliche 57.
The rules relating to the prohibition against cooking are relaxed in the case of kli shlishi and pouring from a kli sheni. Nevertheless, there are halakhic authorities who hold that one should not pour the contents of a kli sheni having a temperature of 45 degrees or more over a raw egg, unboiled tea leaves, or food which, such as herring, which is so heavily salted that it cannot be eaten without rinsing, nor should one put these items into a kli shlishi having a like
Also
temperature.
don't soak it in the kli shlishi also, don't soak it. No yovesh. No, it's a solid. Till now we was talking about liquid, now it's solid.
Solids such as potatoes, pieces of meat, or whole beans, which have a temperature of at least 45 degrees, should be treated in the same manner as a kli rishon. This is so even if the solids have been put into a kli sheni or in the kli shlishi, since they store the heat within themselves. Consequently, one should not pour cold soup onto a piece of hot meat in a plate, put a piece of hot meat into a plate of cold soup, put butter or seasoning onto hot potatoes, nor place pickled cucumbers or uncooked salad or on hot meat or guga. Nevertheless, one may put salt on hot food and
because it's cliche, this is cooked. You say
Kli
melach
shlishi.
shulchan or melach bishul, you say it's cooked. But you say before it.
there are those who rule that tomato ketchup may be poured onto hot meat. In general, as we have seen earlier, the prohibition against cooking does not apply to an already fully cooked solid. It is, however,
But you
forbidden.
say can.
In general, as we have seen, the prohibition against cooking does not apply to a fully cooked solid. It is, however, forbidden to cook something which has previously been baked, fried, or roasted. Likewise, one may not bake, fry, or roast something even if it has previously been cooked or boiled. Thus, it is not permitted to put bread, cookies, or matzot into a kli rishon or kli shani containing hot soup, tea, or the like, nor to pour the contents of a kli rishon onto them. For the purposes of this paragraph, there are grounds for treating a ladle or spoon which has been dipped into a kli rishon, but not left in it for any longer length of time as a kli shani, so that one would, for example, be allowed to put bread in the soup which has been ladled onto a plate from a kli rishon. Cooked meat without gravy may not be placed on the lid of a pot standing on the fire, since it will now roast in the dry heat. Food which has been deep fried in oil is treated, for the purpose of the rule, as if it has been cooked in water. Consequently, noodles.
You said it before, but you repeat.
לא, אמרנו
בשר
קודם.
למשל, it's forbidden to put on the cover because we can roast. What you say now?
Noodles which have been fried in oil.
נודל,
אמרנו בשבוע שעבר.
כן, כן, deep fry. Deep fry is like cooking. Even is in oil. You read about noodle, read. You say almonds, soup almonds or noodle, but it's free in deep.
Kli rishon, provided that it's not standing on the fire. Maybe.
Yes, because it was cooked. Yes.
Toasting bread or making it into rusks is forbidden, because even if the bread is not near enough to the fire to scorch, its texture will change and it will harden.
כן. עכשיו שיעה ואתמול נדבר שבס.
Many fine distinctions are made in the rules about leaving pots on the fire before Shabbat. To avoid complications, it is best to ensure that before Shabbat the pot is placed on a fire which is covered in the manner described in above, and that the contents of the pot, whether solid or liquid, have previously been fully cooked or boiled. It is permissible to leave the pot or urn even on an uncovered fire before Shabbat if one does not wish to replace the pot on the fire after removing it on Shabbat, and the contents of the pot are at least half cooked, or if there is no other possibility, 1/3 cooked before Shabbat, or if one wishes to leave the urn on the fire without removing it during the whole Shabbat, and the water inside is heated to a temperature of at least 45 degrees before Shabbat. In these two latter cases, it is, however, preferable to place the pot on the urn on the uncovered fire a considerable time before the commencement of Shabbat. סליחה רב, אני אעזור.
הנה תמונה. דין התמונה about to wrap the pot. How different if you before Shabbos or Shabbos themselves. Shabbos themselves is not allowed to cover any pot full covering. But if you leave open only the side, you wrap it is good. But before Shabbos you may put in a blanket or something, but not something that make it more hard. This is the same as if ever. Okay. בדין ההתמונה, יש להבדיל בין התמונה בדיום והתמונה בשבת, בין התמונה שמוסיף לו חום, בעיקר הדבר שמוסיף חום. זאת אומרת, אם זה על פלטה חשמלית ומחפשים את זה, זה אסור לחסות את זה כל צד. אם מכסים חלק כמעלה, זה כבר מחלוקת וכדאי להחמיר בזה. בין שחזוני שהם מחמיר בזה. זה נקרא התמונה במקצס. התמונה במקצס, במקצס פבל, גם אנחנו לכתחילה מחמירים. יש בכלים את זה, אבל זה לא פשוט. פלטה חשמלית. משהו מפורש, אין נכנסים את מה שאני עושים אם זה על האש או אפילו פלטה חשמלית. אסור לחסות אותך. השאלה כאן לא ניגע עם התמונה במקצת. מה ששתי מיליון כתב שאין לדחות בזה כלל, אני לא מבין למה.
It will be seen from the following paragraphs that, in determining whether or not one is allowed to keep pots warm by wrapping them up, one distinguishes between wrapping before Shabbat and wrapping on Shabbat. Between wrapping which results in an increase in the temperature and wrapping which merely preserves the existing heat, and between wrapping a kli rishon and wrapping a kli sheni, and between wrapping a pot containing food whose temperature is 45 degrees or more, and wrapping a pot containing food whose temperature is less than 45 degrees. On Shabbat, it is forbidden to wrap a pot of food on all sides in order to keep it warm even.
But if you leave the side open, it is not only when you cover complete. But if you leave it part open, it is not that much.
The wrapping does not bring about any increase in the temperature, and the food is fully cooked. One may not, even before Shabbat, wrap a pot in such a way that the temperature will increase.
Yes.
For example, one may not wrap a cloth around a pot which is standing on a flame, or on an electric plate.
And Shabbos himself even.
A pot of food may be kept warm by wrapping if this is done before Shabbat, starts and the wrapping does not cause an increase in temperature, but merely preserves the existing heat. Consequently, before Shabbat, one may wrap a cloth around a pot which is not on the fire. This is permitted even if the pot wrapped in is standing on another steaming hot pot, so long as the latter is not itself standing on the fire but is losing heat all the time. The prohibition against wrapping applies in general to any method of keeping a container of food warm by completely covering it on all sides, no matter with what substance, even with other food.
Yes, because it's like the bottle, the baby bottle. This belongs to the baby bottle. Not allowed to cover the full. You must put it in a, not so much water, still cover the bottle, the baby bottle.
The prohibition against wrapping applies to any method of keeping a container of food warm by thus, one may not heat an unopened can of food by totally immersing it in hot water, even if it's not standing on the fire.
What we say is forbidden.
The prohibition against wrapping is not applicable, and one may consequently wrap a pot of food even on Shabbat to keep it warm, whether or not it is standing on the fire, if the following three conditions are all satisfied. Either the pot is not covered on all sides, or the material with which the pot is covered or into which it is inserted does not touch it on all sides. The food is fully cooked, it has not completely cooled off, or if it is a solid, accordingly one is allowed to put the pot into a metal box standing on the fire, since even if the box is closed, it is not in contact with the walls of the pot on all sides.
לשנות את היום? יופי. יפה. אז אני אשמח מאוד, תהיה לנו בדיוק 10, זה מה שאני רואה לקח ממך. בעזרת השם אני אבוא אליך. בעזרת השם. כן. הלאה.
A pot containing fully cooked food, which was wrapped in a permissible manner prior to Shabbat, may be uncovered and then recovered. Recovered if the covering has come off by itself, recovered with other warmer cloths, and covered with additional cloths. In case of need, one may on Shabbat wrap even a clear rishon to keep the food inside warm, so long as the temperature of the food is less than 45 degrees, and the wrapping is done in such a way that it retains the heat but does not increase it.
Which paragraph you read? Where you read now?
65, 8.
It's 8. Yes. מותר לנו שם, אז גם טוב שנגייס על מנת. Yes, the hot is not 45 degrees. Yes, מותר להבהיר. You may to transfer from one vessel to the Christian to the second, to also to cover it, even Shabbos. So you say, if you ate from the chunt, on our rest, you may to put to transfer to another part, and then you cover to keep the hot. That's what you say. Or the fire being English. מותר להעביר סמ"ט. 69. Right.
Even on Shabbat, one may transfer food from a Kli Rishon into a Kli Sheni and then wrap it in a manner which does not increase the heat. Consequently, if the flame goes out on Shabbat and one is afraid that the food on the stove will become too cold, one may keep it warm by emptying it into another pot which one then wraps in a cloth. One may fill a thermos
Thermos, yes.
with hot water from a Kli Rishon on Shabbat, provided one ensures that the thermos is completely dry inside before filling. Although its purpose is to retain heat, a thermos is treated as a Kli Sheni.
Okay. So you may also to fulfill gummy bottle to make all the bed. If you want to use it for medicine, you must know the halacha of medicine. You say, what is forbidden to wrap? It's only a vessel, but if you put food by himself, like an egg, what is called egg, how to cook the egg. It is called, you made to put in the chunt, even you cover from every side. And it's also the chicken. The chicken is called, you made to cover with chunt to make this more hot. Kli Sheni.
It is similarly permitted to fill a hot water bottle on Shabbat. The application of a hot water bottle.
To make it, baby bottle, when you want to make little colder, you put in the water, you made to put in water. Good.
The prohibition against keeping food warm by wrapping it applies in three sets of circumstances. If a receptacle containing food is completely wrapped in, covered by, or put inside any article of material such as a cloth, blanket, or a pillow. If food which is not inside any receptacle is completely wrapped in, covered by, or put inside any article of material other than food, as could be done in the case of a boiled egg, or if a receptacle containing food is put into other food in such a way that it is completely covered. The prohibition does not apply if food which is not inside any receptacle is put into other food, even if the express intention in doing so is to warm it up. One may thus warm cold meat on Shabbat by putting it into hot soup, as long as the soup is not on the fire.
Kli Sheni. 73.
A Kli Sheni containing hot food may be stored in another vessel containing cold water in order to cool it down, even if as a result the cold water may be warmed up slightly. This may not, however, be done with a Kli Rishon, nor with a hot solid not in a receptacle, even if this would not warm up the cold water. Ice cubes may be put in the water or another
Because the
liquid
water
to
will
cool it
touch,
down.
we're afraid the water will touch the hot solid will be cooked. מותר ליתן.
Nevertheless, one is not permitted to put ice into an empty cup with the object of drinking it when it has melted. The prohibition applies not only on Shabbat but also on Yom Tov.
This will make this now the second time. The bishop is Yom Tov will be the first time. You want to see this regard, the soul. If you want to be sure of the soul, I will say, look the soul. I mean, if they don't come, we can leave.